You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
And it's chest day. We're going to start off with the planes of motion. Here we are bringing the arm across the upper chest here. You can see it raised higher. Along the midline, parallel to the floor, is the middle chest for the range of motion there. And then for the lower chest, we bring it straight on down, right? The pectoral muscle is basically used for bringing your arm across your chest, but it can also be used for pressing, as you can see here. So it's not just for flying motions, as you would see a bird. Bird's got big boobies, right? That's what the chest is for, bringing it across. It's also for pressing. Speaking of pressing, one thing I see a lot of people do that I think is wrong, especially when looking for isolation, is elbow position. So I'm going to show you some different elbow positions here. For me, this is the nice groove for me. It's the midline here. The elbows aren't up. If they go up too high, you know, you're using your shoulders. If they go down too low, you're using your triceps, okay? So this nice midline for the elbow works well for me. Starting off with incline dumbbell presses, you're gonna see me kick these up by myself. And what I do is do a little shimmy with my shoulders to make sure that I'm setting my shoulders behind my pec. My skin might be stuck to the bench a little bit, so I make sure I put my shoulders behind that. And so my chest is really rounded out. I feel that this is, as I was talking about earlier, my elbows aren't exactly parallel with my shoulders. You know, that's not a straight line I'm drawing. They're bent a little bit, hard to see at this angle. But my chest is really barreled out there. And what that's doing is really help me focus on keeping the tension on the pec muscle. You can see me slow it down at different points. A lot of this, what you're seeing here is like, I'm not going really deep. This isn't a fly motion. I'm not getting a massive stretch on it, but I am going to 90 or just a little past, and it feels good for me. I also don't really hold it up top too long unless I'm getting tired. You know, what I like to do is keep the tension on the muscle, and there you see I paused at the bottom as well, right? Again, talking about keeping those elbows in tight, I don't flare them out too much, but looking at dips, what I like to do is keep my hand at a bit of a 45-degree angle, so that it's almost like a push press. So when I'm doing my dip, I'm not really thinking of it so much as a dip, I'm thinking of it as a chest press. It just happens to be for the decline. My gym doesn't really have a good dips section, whatever, so I'm using this assisted machine. It's narrow, and that's how I like it. I also make sure that I always keep my chin down in my chest. It helps keep my torso in the position that I want. So you can see my hands aren't exactly parallel with that bar. I have to turn them a little bit. The best dip machine I ever used was one that narrowed as it got closer to the end, so you can change the hand position as you like. Next up is this Pec Deck or fly machine. You know, it's got lots of uses. What I'm going to do is set my shoulders behind the motion again and make sure it's all pecs. You can see my shoulders really aren't coming into this at as little as possible. You know, of course, you're going to have other muscles come into every motion. You can see my arms here. You can see the shoulders a little bit. Heck, you can even see the back a little bit. But that's not where the focus is. You can see all the blood rushing into the chest here, and all the concentration is on that chest. I got my chin down, looking into my chest, and I'm really focused on that contraction. Might not always be succeeding, but I'm trying my best there. And one final squeeze I've got there in me. Now this is a machine press. You see, again, I get myself into a nice position, so I am setting my shoulders behind my chest. I won't do this, obviously, if I'm doing bench press on the day. This day, I didn't do any bench, so I chose to do this as one of my finishing exercises instead, something different, right? For the most part, as I'm doing this set on here, or as I'm doing my sets, I do it normally like any other push press, but then when I get to about the end, I start banging out some little mini reps at the top end. You can see them just pumping out. I'm trying to pump that last little bit of energy I got for the top end of the motion there. Gives a nice pump of blood, but it also gives me a little bit of strength at that top end that I might not have had otherwise. And the last exercise is the cable crossovers. I really like wide position cables. These ones are too narrow for what I want to do, but it's okay, I'm still trying. You can see I'm leaning slightly forward. the weight isn't holding me up, but it's almost holding me up. If I wasn't holding onto those cables, I'd probably pitch and fall forward. So you can see the lower pecs working here. That's my plane of motion. I'm drawing my arm across the lower portion there. You can see it from the insertion when I stretch it out, and then when I contract. And when I get too tired, I go on to just the last few reps in a pushing motion. And you can see the separation there between the upper and lower chest, right? Finishing off my chest workout, I do a bit of flexing. What I'll do is hold it in those planes of motion. So that was an incline squeeze. This is a midline squeeze. I can hold these anywhere from 5 seconds to 30 seconds, depends what I'm trying to achieve, depends how much energy I have at the end of the workout, right? And then after that, I might hit some more traditional bodybuilding shots. Front variation of most muscular here. Not all that muscular, I'm kind of waterlogged, but that's okay. And fat too, but let's not talk about that. All right, and then into a side chest shot. And that's it for the chest workout. Thanks for watching, and I hope you keep watching us on Seoul Lifts, some expats here in Seoul, South Korea.